we are going to get a taste this summer of what life is going to look like in a few short years. So here's a psychic forecast for the next 7 years or so. Will this be old Earth's last stand, or are we going to plunge into a dystopian society? Hold on, this is where the timelines meet and where we make history. This time, this period was written into our collective fields. It was written into the matrix. But we have a choice. There are two possible timelines that I see evolving over the next few years. Though the first timeline looks a good deal more likely, the second timeline is more desirable. It all depends on us right now. And are we going to raise the vibration of the collective, or are we going to allow the control systems to lower our vibrations for us? This is all going to get real between now and the autumn. We're here to prepare, not to scare. And this could be really the most amazing times ever. So hang on, I'm going to work a lot from my notes here. So what I see beginning around 2027, 2028. So this is basically a forecast for now, basically in the summer, but really 2027 to 2032 or so. Focusing on the movements of society, particularly AI, and things like interfacing technology. And are we going to have an autocratic, technocratic, oligarchic society? How's that going to look like? How's that going to set up? And how that's going to affect us and how that's going to affect our lives. So basically what I'm seeing is a society bound and connected by an AI-generated grid. It's an AI takeover, though huge scandals are going to be around that also. Interfacing with technology, higher degrees of monitoring and surveillance of civilians for a lot of reasons. This also going to be a very tense time around like international conflicts and stuff like that as well. A lot going on, a lot of resetting, a lot of energetic resetting, and a reset of our society, basically. So let me get back to my notes. So we're going to see or even more fear tactics to get people to conform. It's part of the mass programming, really. Things like pandemic, AI-generated scams, blackouts, fires, maybe fake UFO invasions, stuff like that. So if they can leverage fear, people are much more likely to surrender their rights and their freedom and to buy into this because the promise of a safer world looms. I mean, look, if you're being monitored, all your online activities are monitored, that means that you're not going to be a victim to online scams, right? Right now, I see several scams every day, or we're going to, be less susceptible to illness if we buy into the interfacing and the mRNA technologies and medicines and stuff like that. So I think you get the drift of that. It's going to be very, very tempting, very, very hard to resist. There's going to be a lot of pressure to conform and to interface and to be part of this mechanized world. It'll be hailed as the new frontier, basically. We can eliminate illness. We can eliminate hunger. I mean, all these are good things, obviously. You'll be protected from scams. Technology, I do believe that technology at the end of the day is a good thing and will be part of our collective awakening. It's part of our evolution. I definitely believe that, but are the same people who rewrote history, who consider profit and control over the people more important than our health and well-being in our very lives. This is what's at stake, basically. So hold on 1 second here. I need a little water. So it's like the same people basically who run the governments, who run the media, who run the big corporations like Pfizer, for example. They're going to have greater control, basically. That's what I see evolving in that timeline. Also, more gifts and abilities become taken away from us. Humans get lazier, and even things like spirituality become artificial. So we're looking at a world where everything is kind of like mechanized and artificial. We can have artificial experiences, basically. we can be part of artificial intelligence and have access to all this. But again, who's programming the AI, basically? Who's running the show, basically? What else? But here's the but. But I also see that there's going to be a split in the society if we follow this timeline through, basically. The awakened and awakening people will see through the spiritual trap, through this human trap, basically. So, again, if we're overly reliant on technology, we forget how to heal ourselves, just like we forgot how to communicate telepathically when telegraphs, telephones were invented. It's the same thing. We forget how to evolve. We forget how to do things for ourselves. We forget how to be sustainable and survive in case there's an emergency and we have to have survival skills, basically. We forget how to socialize. We forget a lot of basic human values and basic human needs through this mechanization and modernization and this propagation of these technologies, which again can be a really good thing, but it can also be a detriment too. So anyway, on that note, those that want to continue their spiritual evolution and growth on a human level will get together and create off-grid living, basically. Set up alternative communities, alternative communication networks to a burgeoning new internet, the metaverse maybe, where we get to meet in virtual reality, through AI, through interfacing and stuff like that. But again, it's all artificial. We realize that we're here in human bodies for a human experience for a reason, and that this could all be one big fat spiritual trap. So anyway, where am I in my notes here? So set up alternative communities, live sustainably, similar to how indigenous people used to live, but with more modern conveniences and stuff like that, and continue their spiritual ascension naturally, and continue to raise the collective so that humanity can reintegrate and become connected again. So either way, whether it's timeline 1 or 2, it's going to lead to human awakening. That much is real, but we could take the easy way or the hard way. The easy way, let's start the ascension now. Because what is the other timeline? A society that the technology, as soon as 2027, 2028, it's still doable, it's still possible. The society that technology is used to enhance rather than control. That we continue developing our spiritual gifts to heal ourselves and others, to connect with the spiritual world, to develop our natural intuitive gifts, and to continue the spiritual journey moving closer to Spirit, Source, or God, rather than being cut off from that connection by being overly reliant on the technology. So in this scenario, the digitalized control world cannot and will not sustain, basically. So as we raise the vibration, there's going to be new ways of developing and using the technology that's going to be for the good of the people, the good of the society, not at the expense of the people, to benefit a minute few, basically. So humanity will rise up and the dark control forces will be overcome. And then we can come into our utopian society, our true golden age, quicker, sooner than later, basically. So our natural frequencies are too high for the old earth to sustain. The tower must fall one way or another. So we have that going for us. The idea is to continue to ascend, to continue to grow, basically. And this leads me again to the second timeline, which basically in the next several months we get a taste of future challenges may be enough for people to awaken. The plan of our over-digitalized society will not fly. Corruption will be revealed sooner than later as we raise the collective, and we can avoid a split in society, as well as some of the future agendas which further harm a lot of people and benefit a minute few. So that's the second timeline, basically. Natural frequencies are getting higher. These frequencies naturally dispel the darkness. So the forces of control and organized chaos, They know this. They know the frequencies are getting higher and that people are awakening. And they want to seize humanity now before it's too late for them, basically. So, what can we do now? Basically, what we can do now is raise consciousness, awaken the heart. Remember, doing the heart brain coherence. The more we can be in the frequency of the heart of gratitude, compassion, and love, and make that more our base frequency, the more we can open to higher energies, higher vibrations. The more we can learn and teach to join communities or star communities where we're spiritually developing and raising vibrations, doing that in our communities. But it starts with us. It starts with our choice, starts with our choices right now in this moment to raise our vibration, to get present right now, to feel grateful for the now, to open our hearts, to do spiritual exercises, open our hearts, open our chakra systems, to strengthen our field so that we're not so torn down by the electromagnetic frequencies. And the more in our hearts we are, the less susceptible we are to programming, because hearts cannot be programmed. So that's what to do right now, like heart chakra work, breathing exercises, heart brain coherence. Join spiritual community, create spiritual community, start to have a plan now. What will we do if the society goes so much into the technology that we know it's bad for us, it's bad for our health, it's bad for our spirit, etc.? What are we going to do? Start planning now, like how maybe we can live off-grid and create communities, and hope that it doesn't come to that, or hope that it never comes to that, basically. So in any event, think of plans for off-grid living if the awakened ones need to split from society for a time. But the most important thing is to do your work, connect with spirit, source every day. So that's what I have. There's other things obviously that are going on, but I have a video for you right here that's a more detailed psychic forecast for the next 5 years. That's really the first part to this video, so you can check that out here. And we're going to get through this. This is our awakening, but the old has to fall, and it's not going to die easy. So let's come together in the heart and create miracles. I love you.